Hello everyone, welcome back to part 3 as we continue on with a vblog here. Going into part 3 now, we're actually going to see that the options menu, pretty much GUI, be finished and put together and really up and working, as well as some tweaks to it and everything like that. But the next video, definitely part 4, you want to check out, because that's when we're going to start getting to some of the newer stuff, and mainly the stuff that I'm still working on at the moment. So here is the options menu. With the rest of it, a lot of in-talking commentary for you here on this part. So please enjoy it, and of course, please make sure you stay tuned for part 4 coming up right after this. Alright everyone, so we've got it all nice and coded. Just bears a quick explanations real quick about a couple things. We pretty much copied a lot of the code, or basic code, from the main menu options. Obviously there are some things that we'll probably redefine and put into subs later, such as the actual sound volume stuff here, and things of that nature. But for now, having it as duplicated right here will work just fine. We can always clean that up later, and when we start optimizing and going through code. And I might make a note of that. In fact, I probably should. Let me just quickly put a note of that in here. Jam 3 / total. Changing. There, just a little note on it. We did actually reuse one little piece of the original options menu, and that was the options GUI clear, because as we do the little tab, and that's how we make our tab work, we have to do that. So to make it do that easily, all I did was add another parameter, an optional one, called in-game, and it's default false. So if the main menu as it's programmed runs without this, it's automatically going to do the usual stuff it did. Otherwise, in our new in-game options menu, we can just set this optional parameter to true and put it in there, and it'll automatically run this stuff. And that is really nice and clean, and an example of keeping your code clean and reusable. In this case, it's very easy. Obviously, if you had more than one that I wanted to use this for, such as I had other tab stuff which I might have later, and I want to reuse this to do that, I can easily change this from a boolean to just a simple integer, excuse me, or even an enum, and basically set that up. Excuse me, my goodness. So that's basically what happened there. Otherwise, it's the same as the main menu GUI. It doesn't have the game difficulty, because we are not going to allow game difficulty being changed in the main menu. But some stuff that you can change, obviously, is like the volume, and that's what's in there. And it all is functional, works much like the main menu GUI, which is really cool. So very encouraging. So let's just go ahead and go in real quick and bring up the options. You'll see it takes up more of the screen than the others and everything, but it looks almost identical to the main menu one. In fact, that's the idea. The only difference is it's smaller. Now, this could... Whoa! How'd those get turned around? I need to fix that. I think I know how those got turned around. I'll fix that in a minute. This could be a problem, because we might have more options available on here than could fit. That's when I'd probably put in some sort of scroll function and stuff like that, and I could do the same thing for that in the main menu. But otherwise, it's pretty set up. I need to fix. It looks like these two got turned around for some reason, and as you can see, it works perfectly. I don't know how these got turned around, but I'll fix that. And just like that. Now if I hit accept, it's actually going to save it. If I hit cancel, it will just go back. See? Saved it, which is really cool. So we'll go ahead and do that. Go ahead and go back to the windows, and we'll see if we can figure out what happened there and why those did not get switched. It is. because it definitely should not be happening. I wonder if it's this here, and I bet you it is, so I think that's probably what it is. Let me fix this. Counter equals 1. That's probably what it is. That would make sense. That would totally make sense. Sure enough, that's what it was. Okay. So, little bugs like that. Now, what I did here, if you might notice, is I replaced the old one because it was actually quite messy with a whole bunch of if or, and all that, and simply put a little for loop here. It just goes through the different buttons on the main menu part. And all this is for, and all this does is, if you noticed when I got rid of it and we came back to the main menu, the button was still pushed down and it wasn't put back up. And that's all this does, is automatically puts it back up when we start it and such. And that's mainly what this is for. That's all it really does. So that's what this is, and that's what that change was. So there we go. We have an options GUI in there, an exit GUI, the main menu itself, of course. That means the load save is next, and that's a whopper of a thing to put in. So yeah. So we're definitely going to have to really look that over. It's going to look a lot like the load save or the load game that you see at the main menu, probably. I'm not exactly sure since this is done. In fact, I can mark it off on my whiteboard real quick, even though it's going to get erased. Go ahead and just mark that as done. It's going to have to, because I'm going to need the space to do this. It's going to look somewhat like this, and as you can see, it's not that big. So a lot like I did with the options, this is pretty much going to be put into the game. It probably won't look this fancy. It'll probably mostly be the actual interface portions here, and the load game and cancel is probably what you'll see. The title graphic will probably get cut off, and I'll just do it like this. I'm not 100% sure yet how it's going to look, but it'll look something similar to this. Roughly off the top of my head, just to let you guys know, before I go ahead, and I'm going to have to actually stop the video so I can work on my whiteboard on this. But the screenshot, we're actually going to take an in-game screenshot when you save, and it's going to be placed here. So when you click on a save game to see what it is, it's actually going to show the screenshot where you're at. Down here will show the information of the game, like for example your character or party information, your position on the map, your basic stuff like that, location, whatever, your level, etc. And then of course over here will be the actual list of the save games, and of course it will be like a little scroll menu text, which should be interesting because I've never really done that before. Definitely going to be pretty interesting because we're basically going to put in a basic load save game system as well, because the only way to really, I mean, I could go ahead and put in a GUI like I did here as a template and leave it, but since we're actually going to have it in game, we might as well go the whole way. The nice thing is I can go ahead and implement the save and the load on the in-game GUI, get it working, and once the load it's working, I can just take the load part and that stuff and move it into the main menu portion with hopefully just minor changes and minor stuff like that. So that's basically what's next, and that's basically what I'm going to be working on next, is this load save and bringing up the GUI and setting it up. But this is really neat. It's good to see this really coming together well, and basically that's going to happen. One of the biggest questions I actually thought of, and I'll go ahead and share it with you now, even though I might mention it again later, is to get the screenshot here. When you click menu is when it's actually going to take a temporary screenshot, whether you save the game or not. Every time we hit menu, it's going to take a screenshot before the menu comes up. This way we get a nice in-game shot of where you're at for your save game. So if you do save it, it'll put the right thing in. We don't have all these menus on top of each other for all the screenshots. There's probably a better way to do it, but for now that's what I'm going to do. So yeah, guys, that's pretty much what's up next. So I'm gonna get to my whiteboard and work on this. I'm gonna spare you guys staring at my desktop, which is kind of nice. It's Naru, so, but I'm gonna spare you guys that as I work on this, and we'll get back to it here in just a bit. So yeah, stay tuned.